You're welcome back. It is still Atlantic Television Saturday, and sorry for that little delay. I have here in the studio, my guest is here right here. He defied the rain, talking about Pius Duko. I call him a serial media entrepreneur because he's a media host, he's involved in a lot of media activities, short media activism. And he's a civil society advocate. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, one of my mentors, for having me this morning.
Pius Duko is here, and let's go. General Officer Commanding 6th Division Nigerian Army, Port Harcourt, Major General Jamal Abu Salam has reiterated the need for realistic and battle-focused training to effectively combat the security challenges within the 6th Division area of responsibility. Abu Salam, who is also the Land Component Commander, Joint Task Force South-South, Operation Delta Safe, disclosed this during the inauguration of exercise Shining Star 4 at the 6th Division Training School, Port Harcourt Barracks, River State. The GOC 6th Division, who was represented by the Chief of Staff, 6th Division Brigadier General Abatunde Omo Pariola, stated that the concept of the exercise is to provide a common platform for the harmonized post-basic training to selected young soldiers after their initial military training at Depot Nigerian Army. A statement by the acting Deputy Director of 6th Division, Army Public Relations Major Danjuma Jonah Danjuma, the GOC said, training is designed to improve the soldiers' knowledge, capability to effectively counter current security challenges in a complex operating environment, particularly within division area. GOC charged the participants to take advantage of the training opportunity provided to sharpen their skills to enable them carry out their responsibilities professionally. The statement maintained that the exercise is in line with the Chief of Army Staff. Command philosophy is to transform the Nigerian Army into a well-trained, equipped, and highly motivated force towards achieving the constitutional responsibilities within a joint environment. Earlier in his remarks, the Acting Division Training Officer, Lieutenant Colonel Abdullahi Manu, stated that the training is aimed at building the abilities of participants, enhancing their confidence in weapon handling, as well as teaching them team maneuver skills, adding that emphasis will be placed on minor tactics, tactical drills, live firing. Well, you can see what is going on here. River State, I think that this is an impetus, as it were, to embolden security activism, as it were, or activities in River State. Yeah. And you can see that the soldiers seem to be battle ready, but converting this training and skill drills and what have you, especially with firing and all that, into actual taking care of security issues in River State is the next level. And River State people are yearning, Niger Delta people are learning, the division area which they cover are also in need of actual security, architecture being rejigged and being put into practice.
Yeah, I think training is part of the rudiments of any sector, be it police, be it Air Force, be it military. Even in the civil service, they do training and then retraining. It's very important to note. However, I haven't given them kudos for the training. I think people will also want that the training, just like you said, will have a step up, in addition to securing people, properties, and whatsoever. And then I think I should add in this way that apart from training, they should have good equipment. They should have protective equipment. In those days, even now, if you work in oil companies, they say PPE. If you don't have PPE, some companies will not allow you to enter. Yeah, but we are getting battle ready. Yes, getting battle ready. Just to be a staff of an oil company, or even serious organization, or even building organizations, architectural organizations. So what does that mean? And this 21st century, we see a situation where the military, they are battle ready, but the vehicle they are using is not 21st century compliance. It's not. Haven't been exposing the military into a sense of where these hoodlums will come and waylay them. And then I also think that you know, one thing with this warfare, guerrilla warfare is very difficult.
Yeah,
Guerrilla warfare very difficult. And people will think, what is guerrilla warfare? Guerrilla warfare is that warfare that you don't see the person physically. You're not battling with him physically. You're not all the time. It's just ambushing you, you know. And that is what the most of the insurgents we are using in the north. And I'm beginning to see that within the southeast, where people will just out of the bush and come and rough handle. And I also think that what also happened to Baku and Basha when we are hearing that it was ambush and then like that. However, I don't know. I don't want to give detail on that. So if military is doing their training, also make sure that they have protective equipment, protective vests. The vehicle should be bulletproof, bomb-proof.
That's hardware,
software. At this 21st century,
exactly.
And better weaponry. I don't think the insurgents should have a good weapon more than the military.
Yeah.
And sometimes I wonder, where do these boys, these hoodlums, these whatever name you call them, no nomenclature, Boko Harams, bandits, whatever baptism name they have. Where do they get this? They have heavy weapons from. Yes, and then you can see some, in the WhatsApp and all the Facebook, they are exposing the weapons, and I got worried. I said, where do they get this thing from? How do they package it into Niger Delta? How do they package it into Nigeria? Where are the customs to also, because this is part of the thing that we must also talk about in form of security matters. Exactly. Because the training is just a surface part of it. Because apart from the surface part of it, we need to go to the training. Because the training is going to do what? Go have effective way of protecting us. So if you do training on the just because it's a surface and then it doesn't have effect on us, yes. What is the meaning of training? Yeah, I think so that is why I think that as us and media men, media practitioners and analysts, we need to also point out to the fact that only training will not solve the matter. Routine training, okay. Vehicles, purposeful vehicles, then weaponry that can counter the insurgency will be better.
Well, I think that what the point you're making is very, very clear and obvious, because you were talking about them being well equipped and having superior warfare knowledge. Because I can see what they're doing there, some of the tactics, drills and all that, should be that which should be able to counter the subterranean activities of hoodlums or non-government actors in the battlefield. Yeah. Some kinetic structure within them, improving their weaponry, because these people seem to have superior weaponry. Right?
Yeah, you're seeing them.
Firepower,
yes.
As it were. And what happened in Imo State and recently in Abia State is not something that we should be very proud of, where soldiers are killed like by non-government actors, as if they are just ordinary ragtag militia. I think that the training has come, is timely, and it should be intensified and redirected. Because when you're using a particular tactics that is not working, you have to
change.
Yeah. Let's look at the next story, and it has to do with elections. Well, the off-season election in Bayelsa is coming up by November. Federal High Court has adjourned the judgment in a suit seeking disqualification of Timi Priscilla from contesting the November 11 Bayelsa governorship poll until Tuesday. The matter, which was #1 on the day's course list, however, could not go on due to Justice Inyang Ekwo's absence. The court therefore fixed September 26 for judgment. Justice Ekwo had on July 6 fixed today for the judgment. That's yesterday.
Yeah.
The suit was filed by Mrs. Obumade Johnson, an all-progressive Congress aspirant for Bayelsa governorship election against Silva. Immediate past Minister of State for Petroleum, she prayed the court for an order of mandatory injunction compelling INEC to delist the names of APC and Silva from among the list of political parties and candidates for the November election. The aggrieved aspirant also prayed for an order of perpetual injunction restraining Silva from parading himself as the APC governorship candidate for Bayelsa, among others. She sought a declaration that the APC was duty-bound in contract to commence and conclude the primary election in Bayelsa in accordance with the provisions of the Electoral Act 2022 and the regulations and guidelines of the political party after having demanded and received the sum of 10 million naira from her, along with other 5 aspirants. This Bayelsa State issue is, over time, I've been seeing Bayelsa State election as something that calls for serious attention, especially with the flashpoints that we have, and especially when Silva is involved. And these are old war horses. The horse trading and all the, issues that arise from pre-election and during election, issues in Bayelsa are things that the security operatives and even the judiciary should look at.
Yeah, first and foremost, I think this is an internal matter within the APC political party. And then being an internal matter is before the courts that they should disqualify Silva. That is a prayer of the woman praying the court to disqualify Silva from the race. That is a very personal opinion among 5 others, but I'm actually being worried. I'm worried because I don't think that in the prayers she said, I'm supposed to be the candidate. She didn't say that. And then, the court is not Father Christmas. You can't come to the court and seek for justice, without laying foundation. Success, justice in court means that you must come with equity, with clean hands. And then the woman appearing in court disqualifies Silva, is looking at if, she's been sponsored to my own man. Because in the prayers, I didn't see the prayers that declare me. I'm the qualified person, for these primaries. No, I won.
No, I think that she is a concerned citizen.
Yeah.
There was no proper internal democracy.
Fine. So the prayers, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, you're talking about the prayer.
Yeah, that as a concerned citizen, and you're a party member, because the case will be before the court. Fine, apart from the fact that you're a concerned citizen and you're a party member, sometimes the court look at whether you're a middle-some interloper, whether you're just interwoven, jumping yourself into the matter, you are not part of it. Did you buy form?
Okay,
Did you buy form? And she said 5 others. 5 other who? 5 other aspirants? Or 5 other who? Were you discriminated against? But if a supposedly aspirant was bringing this suit before the court, because sometimes when we look at this thing, that is why when court look at some of these matters, and maybe I'm not going to be prejudicial because it's still before the court and sub judice. But I just want to primarily dwell on those tenets of law that says he who needs equity must come with clean hands. Are you a party to the case? What is the injury? What is injury to you? Okay. And then did you buy form? Did you spend money?
Can I cut you off?
Yeah.
Yes, you said we are not going to meddle into the matter because that will sort you.
Yeah. to give answer. That is the real cause of it.
There's a pertinent issue there.
Yes.
Money was given to them by INEC. 10 million naira, right?
Yes.
Or more. Details are there. And then they were supposed to conduct proper primary. The major problem we have in the Nigerian electoral system, and that is why it's snowballs into the larger political.
Yeah, I'm not denying that. Yeah.
That's why it snowballs into the larger political landscape.
Yes.
Because we don't have proper internal security, democracy.
Yes. They just handpick somebody,
And then they create this problem. And then then they form government, the same mentality
goes around.
Yeah,
I can understand that.
Entitlement mentality. I'm one of the big wigs of the party.
Yeah.
I'm very, very relevant. I must have this. I must have that. I must decide what happens. It's that same mentality that you have within the party mechanism.
That's true.
That snowballs into the larger political landscape.
Everywhere.
And that's why we have problem in Nigeria.
Yes.
When will we start having a proper internal democracy within the political parties? So that when it is tidied up there, then we can expect a tidy, and transparent political system at the governance level.
To be candid and to be fair, for internal democracy, what he is doing is not a wrong thing. I am only looking at you know.
I'm not talking about her. I'm talking about the
No,
fact.
generally,
Yes.
to be very candid.
Yes.
Political parties, the way they evolve in Nigeria, in other regions, the handpicking of candidates, not allowing people not to contest or shooting somebody, you know, caging you out. It's not part of our democracy, you know, and this has evolved over time. So if somebody loves you, you are here now, somebody can say, okay, just come by next dispensation, you're going to be House of Reps. And that is all. You may not have to suffer, just that somebody pick interest in you.
And that's against the electoral law.
Yes, they're supposed to allow all of us to buy our forms. We pay with our money. We stamp duties. Because buying of this form also raise money for the government. You know, do you know that? The more people contest, the more money, they raise money for the party, sorry. The party, it increase the party's welfare. It did just like the presidential election of APC. You know how much millions that turn in because of they are selling their own form, 100 million.
They did not unpick.
Yes, they did not unpick. They allow. So I am thinking that in every fair of governance in this country, just use the APC presidential model. Open the form. But the only thing I quarrel with that is that their form was very costly. And I kick against it sometimes ago. Sometimes you go 100 million, too high.
It's not for you.
Yeah, no, you're also releasing, you're also blocking my fundamental human rights, not to aspire. Okay. No, you're also doing that indirectly. If you peg that into 1 million, who knows whether Parazuka will go and borrow money and go up? Because the election, it doesn't mean that your private money. In election matters, people can contribute money for me. I can raise funds. In fact, in other parts of the world, fundraising is part of electoral matters. And they allow me to raise funds. And
they peg the limit.
And yes, and they allow me to call my friends who will sponsor. But here, they just put money, 100 million, so million. And then to now barricade other people. And that is why we have shrewded way. And that does not allow good characters to verge into offices. Yeah. You know? So it is somehow, but in the presence of this matter, what the onus, I want to prove that the court will ask the onus, what is your onus in this respect? Were you part of those who pick form? Okay, did they block you from picking a form? And you bring your evidence.
Let's leave that. Let us leave that for the court to decide.
Okay, yes.
Because the fundamental issue which concerns us as analysts on this matter is a problem affecting internal democracy.
I accept. It's not good.
The failure for political parties to do the right thing has always snowballed into serious conflicts. And that's why I have crisis during the election, win at all costs. And some of this affect the entire electoral process in Nigeria.
Yes.
And it doesn't make it tidy at all. It doesn't make it sane.
I accept that.
We are looking forward to a point in Nigeria where we begin to have the right electoral process, where parties will conduct proper primaries
openly,
and the result of such primaries, are acceptable to all. And then those who win will now stand the proper election without compromising the process.
Yes.
And then INEC will come and become impartial arbiter or impartial umpire and conduct a proper election that will end at the end of the declaration of results, not the one that dovetails into serious litigations.
Yeah.
Upon litigations that distract those who are supposed to be in governance from governing properly from beginning, because the first step of a dance determines how well
you're going to dance
at the end of it. Let's look at the next story. Nigerian Army says it has busted a gun manufacturing factory in Kaduna and arrested a suspected gun runner, Napoleon John, following a sting operation to map up illegal weapons. This was contained in a statement released on Friday on the X, that's from our Twitter account, of the force. According to the statement, the discovery of the illegal gun manufacturing factory was successful after a week-long intelligence operation, which led to the arrest of the suspect and recovery of 22 different weapons. The statement also noted that the force troops have been directed to arrest all fleeing members of the syndicate, who will be meant to face the consequences of their actions, while commending troops for their doggedness and resilience. The GOC commander, OPS Search, also vowed to ensure all fleeing syndicate members were arrested and made to face the full wrath of the law. Warned sponsors and perpetrators of criminalities to immediately abandon their civil ways, their evil ways, and embrace lawful means of livelihood. That's what nobody's preaching.
Yeah.
Criminality doesn't pay. But there's something that they pointed out there in this story that interests me and that will interest every commentator. Serious intelligence. You know, we are talking about the training and retraining.
Yeah.
The 6th division.
Yeah.
They're talking about with serious intelligence, we're able to discover this. These gun factories contribute to the serious gun running problem that we have in Nigeria. And there are syndicates. They do not only import, they also manufacture. And it's the bane of the conflict we have, whether you call it religious or whatever. Banditry, Boko Haram, IPOB, non-gunmen and non-gunmen and non-gun men, whatever you call them. Cultists, whatever you call, they are emboldened by the fact that availability of weaponry. And those who manufacture this thing help to increase tension and insecurity. So with serious intelligence, that's where we are.
Yeah, I will not dampen the courage and the efforts of those who actually discover this. But if you look at it elementarily, you might have found out that this has been there for how long? For how long? Who knows? For ages or years. However, military intelligence is so good. The other day I was on one of your sister stations, and I talk about plainclothes detectives that used to be in our communities in those days when we were growing up.
They have them in the army too, army intelligence.
Yes, yes. So you don't wear the army uniform, you'll be there mingling with the boys, you know all the points until when a crime is being committed, and before the person knows, you bring your ID card, you bring your gun, and you handcuff the person. I don't know why this is not happening these days. Okay, if it's happening, it is at the lowest ebb because, you know, it is very difficult because the rate of crime and then gun moving from here or there is so that a lot of people are being worried for their life. So, and then what we need to do too, the military intelligence, to also police the porous Nigerian border. I understood that some time ago, I think the senior custom officer was saying or alleging to say that we have about 42 entrants to Nigeria, if not more than that. You know, from the Benin Republic, from Cameroon, from this side, all of them, from Niger, over from Iduku Island, over 42. And then when you have all these points entering Nigeria, and then they are not even looking at the checks and how people use, and even in the importation of rice, they put all this weapon inside rice bags and conceal it and go and deliver in the containers at the wharf. And then I don't know whether we also have good equipment to check when most of these goods are being imported into the country. Sometimes you see very good intelligence. They see brand new vehicle where they hide weapon inside. Sometimes in the engine, in the engine. You'll be surprised with some of the things that we are seeing. You know, how they discover this weapon inside vehicles and like that. And then I always say that too, that a critical check will also help so that we can sleep with two of our eyes. Because most times, you know, the criminal, before they go and operate, they did not always go into the bush and bring the gun. The gun might be with them and they just package it, put it at the back, and they put it inside the vehicle. No criminal will all the time be going to the bush before you now bring the equipment and then go and operate. And after operation, he will not carry the weapon to the bush. That is not true. So if there's a proper search, having encouraged these people, what I want to say that they should not confiscate that factory. They should turn it into their own Nigerian factory. Yes.
Do you know that is a crude one?
No. Apart from being a crude one, they can build on it. Yeah. No, we are talking about skill acquisition here in this country. Okay. We are talking about importing a lot of things, and that is also bringing inflation to Nigeria. I'm talking about somebody's manufacturing weapon in Nigeria, and then bring your people, bring these young soldiers to learn on it. In fact, you can even arrest the person there and you'll be teaching them as part of their work. And then when the time is spent, after teaching them, you know.
I think that I think I'll have to disagree on this one.
Yes. Wait, sir. Let me tell you, in some countries, let me say very quickly.
Yes.
In China, when you see prisoners, what they do is that they don't just keep them in prison. They are farmers. They carry them out, guide them, and they plant acres of rice farm. Plant acres of this.
Just as we have a prison farm in India.
Yeah, they turn them into productivity.
Okay.
After when they finish them, they carry them to the prison. Tomorrow they feed them. And that is why hunger is not there. You see a population of 1 point something billion. You don't think that they do magic? they use some of these ideas. So when criminality comes and you know that this person has idea, you solve the idea from the person, make it great. Not that you're setting the man free. He's under bondage, he's under imprisonment, but he's teaching the Nigerian legal people how to do it.
Okay.
And then before you now discard the person and now allow him to face the law.
No, I think that what you are doing, what you are saying is very, very proper. Now, you have a process. You'll be arrested, prosecuted, and jailed. And then in prison, you'll be subjected to some entrepreneurial skill, some vocation.
Yeah.
Some have even stayed in prison and got PhD in Open University in Nigeria.
Yeah.
Now, what you're also saying is that what you have at Elele, for example, the prison farm,
Can be improved upon.
can be expanded across the country.
Yeah.
So that you have prisoners becoming productive.
Wonderful.
And then the likes of this, since you know how to manufacture gun, when you go to prison, they will create that
department for you.
The correctional
Center.
People, operatives, also use gun.
Yeah.
So you have to produce gun and all that.
And it will also reduce the importation and the capital flights and the inflationary measures.
But not to allow them go free.
No. I never anticipate going free. No. I can never say that.
Okay.
So that is not my idea.
I think the point you're making here is making them more productive in an inclusion.
While also facing the disciplinary action.
In a correctional center.
Yes.
Exactly. That's very good. But the point is that we're in trouble in a country where people do this. Before, there used to be people who manufactured dang guns within our politics.
Yeah.
And people were using it for hunting, other useful activities. But today, what do we have? We have people who manufacture it for criminal reasons, and they sell to criminals. And recently, Nigeria was, the chief of staff, or the inspector general of police, sorry, was talking about, relicensing as it were.
Yes. There's license, but you need to reapply again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Bringing people to apply for licensing and then proper regulatory process
Framework,
put in place where only those who deserve to be licensed are licensed. That should be part of the gun policy in Nigeria. In America, they have a very bad system where gun running has become a problem. And they are struggling to
combat it.
If we have such a trend in Nigeria, it will be very, very dangerous. So we should nip it in the bud because our culture, is a more serious culture when it comes to emotional control.
Yeah.
And social control. We don't have a proper social control.
Yeah.
America, despite that problem, is able to handle their issues.
Yeah.
If we have a gun running issue,
they know that the law will not allow you to escape.
So if in Nigeria we're not able to stop what is going on now, and we degenerate into a popular wrong gunning culture, then we are in trouble. Now let's look at the next story. First-class traditional ruler, Emir of Zauzau, Ambassador Nuhu Bamali, has called on Kaduna State residents and Nigerians to embrace tolerance and unity irrespective of tribe, culture, religious background, affiliations. Traditional ruler appealed to Kaduna, made the appeal in Kaduna at a state-level strategic stakeholders engagement workshop for effective early warning, early response system in Nigeria, organized by the Institute of Peace and Conflict Resolution in collaboration with the Kaduna State Peace Commission. Speaking, the Emir said, religious tolerance promotes peaceful coexistence, noting that our differences should be seen as part of development, not division, adding that Nigerians must live together as a country and shun sentiment and discrimination. Also, the Director General of IPCR, Dr. Joseph Ochogu, says building a robust conflict early warnings, early response system is key to mitigating and preventing conflict from becoming violent and catastrophic to human lives and property. Executive Vice Chairman of Kaduna State Peace Commission, Dr. Saleh Molale, says the commission is working with religious traditional leaders and youth groups to ensure religious tolerance prevails in the state by dousing tension through EWR system. This action for rapid and transformative Nigeria LA says the program will create linkages where stakeholders will set agenda and strategies on early warning, urging Nigerians to report conflict, in their communities. I think there's a track up on this story. Let's get it.
Yeah.
There's a track.
Of the issues, ranging from matrimonial issues, inheritance, land disputes, religious intolerance, and also ethnic bigotry. This is what we do, appealing to different communities to stay in peace. Because without peace, you can never ever progress in your life. The whole city will be disintegrated, displacement of people, you have refugees, and then, you have people coming to give you palliatives. People that don't even like your face will now say that they are the people that will support you.
Get a rapid response that will prevent the occurrence of conflicts or some of these violent crimes that we see in the state, where religion was being used as a divisive factor. We are increasingly witnessing higher level of cooperation between Christians and Muslims, and we are beginning to see higher level of religious tolerance and harmony. So what we are doing is to continue to work with our traditional rulers, our religious leaders, youth groups, women groups, and the media to pass messages that will encourage the people of Kaduna State to embrace plurality and to recognize that religious differences are not basis for hatred, or they are not used as avenues for mobilizing action against one group or the other, but rather to create stronger unity and synergy among the people of the state.
Nigeria is faced with numerous security challenges that are thwarting the desired unity and cohesion, stability and peaceful coexistence, and inclusive development necessary for the pursuit of happiness. Violent conflict is strengthening the fabric of our existence and challenging our humanity in so many ways. It has become imperative to invoke every patriotic attempt to insist on conflict prevention and non-violent approach to conflict. There is need to find an effective way of communicating early warning to attract the fastest response in order to prevent conflict from escalating into violence.
Well, the one interesting thing about that story is the fact that Kaduna State has a peace commission. And the peace commission is talking about, peaceful coexistence among groups, religious, and it's an interesting development. I wish that every state of the federation should have a peace commission. Some people may argue that, well, Kaduna State is having a peace commission because I've always had a volatile inter-religious crisis and all that. But we need a peace commission because peace is not the absence of war. You can begin to build peace-building policies from time to time.
Yeah, I think that is in consonance with what the PRO did in Rivers State recently,
yes.
When the national president of Nigerian Institute of Public Relations came here, and the topic was even very, important, as it has to do with traditional rulers and peaceful coexistence within the communities. And that is exactly what I saw there in that clip. But I think it's not a one-off something, not something that you do only one day, because the present youth are so, volatile, just like somebody said, and because of the bad governance that's been within the hemisphere of Nigeria, as also making them to be proactive in every matter. Every little thing they ignited and they just go haywire. you can also see the part of this tribunal judgment in one of the states there, Kano there, that, you know, all of them, they are on the street now, and, you know, so yes. So if not because the Nigerian, and then where would they get money to be funding themselves, to be preaching it? So because the only thing that I think is left with them is to be preaching this peace. But you know that in organizing peace, you must have a hall, you must have people, you send invite, you must also entertain people. So this costs money. So, but originally that is the only function that they have. So within their local government,
they are paid.
It's not much. It's just
I know.
Very few of them. Very few.
So that makes it.
Their traditional role.
Yes, and the part of it that makes it incumbent on government.
Yes.
You have this peace commission. And this peace commission and you become a statutory commission.
Yes, which is their job.
That will
allow them to do their job, which they will now move from local government to local government, community to community, because that's the only job that is left for them.
In a proactive manner.
Yes.
The government should incorporate them and then form this peace commission, and they are members of this peace commission.
That's what I'm saying.
So you know, looking at, you know, peace building from point of view, there's a difference between peace building and peacemaking.
It's very difficult.
Do you know that?
Peace building is very difficult.
Peace building is good.
Yes.
Peacemaking is what we do, you know, on reactive basis.
Yes.
When there's trouble, you go and make peace.
That one is just temporarily.
It's temporary.
But peace building has a longer time of inculcating peace into people.
It's proactive.
And then
it's become part of your culture.
And then in that NIPRO discussion, we talk about inculcating the youth into, because the youth will not also every time frail up in every little thing, you know, causing this youth to react, you know, especially where issue of transparency and accountability is not there. Then, for example, if money come into a community and then people are they mismanage it, especially maybe council of chiefs or whatever, the youth react, before you know, they start burning houses, and that will not even help the matter. I think that just like they said in Kaduna, is how to propel peace for over a long time. And you said that, or it is a well-known that, you know, not that there must be war before we know that peace is inevitable. No, it's not. So it's a daily and routine activities. So I think it's kudos to them.
Let's join this story to what we are saying so that we can go on a break.
Okay.
Now look at it. Federal government, religious leaders urge to preach forgiveness as World marked International Day of Peace a couple of days past.
Yes.
Nigerians and Kaduna State have joined their counterparts to celebrate the day by calling on government and levels, political actors, and Nigerian youth to imbibe peaceful coexistence, forgiveness, and reconciliation to strive for the development of the nation. They made the appeal in Kaduna at a peace walk organized by Interfaith Mediation Center in collaboration with Opus Peace Foundation with the aim to strengthen mutual relationship and understanding among different faiths. The International Day of Peace is celebrated globally every September 21st each year. It was established by United Nations General Assembly in 1981 to promote it.
We can have peace in Nigeria. Consequently, we can have peace in the whole world. We want this initiative to be escalated all over Nigeria. Young people should take the lead of bringing peace in our community. Calling on the federal government also to imbibe the culture of forgiveness, reconciliation. If we don't reconcile, we cannot move forward. If we don't live in peace, we cannot move forward. So I call on the federal government, all the political actors, traditional leaders, women, young men, please live in peace.
State to Nigeria is respect each other, respect everyone, and let peace reign. For youth to understand that their worth is not in conflict. Their worth is in growth. Their worth is in development. Their worth is in peace. Avoid anything conflict. Avoid anything that would disrupt the nation. Your youths are much more than conflicts. Youths are the voice of peace, and with the youths in everything, the world would be a better place.
We have peace, isn't it? Because we are looking for peace for everywhere, Kaduna and Kano, isn't it? Because there's no peace. And now the peace has come down, isn't it? All of us who have peace, we have cooperated for the peace. Because of that, we just go out for peace today. Instead to you that we should cooperate, isn't it? We have work to do.
When you welcome back. We're talking about peace. And the Northwest have taken the gauntlet to ensure that there is that awareness demonstration. Kano and Kaduna are indeed at the center of Northwest. And so, if they have taken the initiative to preach and propagate peace, it's a very good thing. Your last word on this. So that
yeah, very quickly. Yes, I don't think that this peace walk is just one day because of its fall on 21st of September every year. I think it should be a daily thing. And then let us erase some of the things that causes conflict within the communities. Land grabbing, primitive accumulation of wealth, discrimination, working against people politically, and then business, entrepreneurship. When you are doing business together, you cannot cooperate with me and give me my fair share. Most of this is, so we need to maintain a daily peace routine within our community.
That's peace building.
Yeah, peace building. Not we wait for one day and we gather somewhere, we wear cap and T-shirt and we go and march on the street. However, that day is remarkable, but we need to inculcate all these things, all the garment, all the liturgy, all the things that we can do to make sure that peace is a continuous process. In fact, it starts from the family. And then as a family man, don't discriminate a girl child against the boy child. Don't carry educational money and give to the man. You are not giving to the woman. Just in greed, it just breeds hatred.
Yeah.
So many of them.
Yeah.
And then even the state too.
Yes.
The state wealth should also go around. Okay. What you give to Peter, give also to John.
Well, when we talk about peace building again, something comes very, very elementary. If a child is crying and crying, that child has no peace.
Yeah.
The only peace you can give to that child is to find out whether he's hungry.
Yes. And why is he crying?
Why is he crying? So that is what should be done to the state. Or if we are volatile, place is volatile, there's insecurity. Yeah. We should also take care of the well-being of Nigerians. Well, that's the much we can take for this segment. The first hour is gone, and we'll go on a short break. When we come back, we'll enlarge the panel, and we'll continue with the program. That's your weekend flagship program, Atlantic Saturday. Don't get away.
Every day, our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics.
Nobody's ambition is what's the blood.
I have fought very firmly.
Natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody, and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today.
Welcome back. It is still Atlantic Television Saturday, your flagship news and current affairs program. Well, I have someone here, a very powerful speaker, joining me, a current affairs commentator. He's a veteran when it comes to that. We're talking about Frank Enawaji. Frank, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah. Frank is here. You can see him. Very vociferous, very eloquent. But he's wonderful with his pen. I recall in those days, we used to write commentaries for Radio Rivers at my desk then. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Now, let's look at the next story. Operatives of the Joint Task Force, Operation Hand in Daji, have rescued 6 female students of Federal University, Gusau, Zamfara, abducted in the early hours of Friday. Force Information Officer, Operation Hand in Daji, Captain Ibrahim Yahaya confirmed this to Newsmail Friday in Gusau. Called that the rescue operation followed the abduction of an unspecified number of female students from their rented hostels at Sabongida, which is few meters away from the university. Yahaya said that the troops pursued the abductors who took the students, mostly females, to the forest. He said that the troops engaged the abductors in a gun duel supported by the air component of the Nigerian Air Force and rescued 6 of the students. Yahaya further stated that several bandits were neutralized during the rescue effort, which he said was still ongoing. Efforts to speak with the school authorities on the incident proved abortive as the institutions, abortive. Very interesting story there. I am very happy that these people have been rescued. Earlier in the week, later this week, we talked about this matter. They were taken away from their hostel. And people have been worried on press round table. We had media people like you too. This issue was raised. And most of my commentators on the show were very worried. One particularly said that he had female daughters. And he'd be wondering what could happen if such a thing happened to any of his daughters. And there was a move in this state after the Dapchi girls were kidnapped. Remember?
Yeah.
And after the other, what was the other one?
The Chibok was the first one now.
The first one.
Yeah.
And all that. They're still in captivity.
Yeah.
And this issue was raised in collaboration with some multilateral organizations and groups outside this country, that there should be some proper security in our various institutions. And recently I had the police authorities talk about that, that they raise special squad for school protection. We are yet to see this. This has become very important if we must take education seriously. It should be part of the educational reform in this country. Let me start with Nawaj.
Well, this has become a trendy issue in Nigeria, where students are kidnapped almost weekly, monthly, and ransom is also paid from the families to those adopters. For me, I don't think it's something that any nation should keep quiet. Like you said, it has become a threat to education. And this is a subtle way of trying to demoralize people from going to school. For this reason, when you are going to school and you are facing kidnapping, and not just kidnapping alone, after being kidnapped, you'll be molested. Like you just said also. Today is not only sexual molestation, they also molest even male by their male counterpart who have become their captors. For me, it will be so difficult that we are allowing this to become like a commerce in Nigeria, where it has become a trade where people have warehouse or warehouses somewhere that they will go to the street, go to the school, and pack, I use the word pack in quote, pack people, go to the warehouse somewhere and begin to negotiate how to sell them. It is not a good thing in this country. But I don't know what is happening. That for over 10 years ago, kidnapping has become lucrative. And this is done within the territory of Nigeria. We are humans, citizens, will be kept. And before you know, ransom will be paid. And before you know, those people will receive the money. And I ask myself, the issue of network registration that we have done, all the SIM cards registration that Nigerians have been coerced to do, what is the benefit to the people? Because these people too, they are doctors. They also negotiate using phone calls to say, look, we are here with you. If you don't bring the money, we'll kill. And today we have also gone to another aspect that we call human harvesting. It has become also another market in Nigeria. And this is something that is taking place within the territory of Nigerian state. And nothing proactive, I use that word in quote, has been done to protect the excesses of these criminal elements who are actually causing mayhem, causing threat to serious life in the society. For me, what we have just seen, I just pray that it will have a way to stop. I thank God for the effort also made to rescue 6 people. Maybe 6 persons may not also be the only people kidnapped. Like they have said that with the effort of the air attack, they have been able to rescue 6 persons. For me, for how long as a nation that is sovereign, that will allow people to stay within the city-state to wreak havoc on their fellow citizens, and we have security agencies who will in a way sit and look the other way. Because for me, it is paining my heart that somebody will carry a phone and call people, and within the period, some will stay 5 months, 6 months until the money is paid. Like we have mentioned, Dati and Chibok. You know, we have forgotten the story of Leah Sharibu. It has become issue of memory. But for how long? There have been some of them, from what you have gathered, you know, I listened to one of the guests who was released about a month ago, who said is a husband. You know, he called her a husband. That he has married, she has married her. So, you know, these people have a way of orientating their victims. They will now begin to teach you their own way. And by the time you know, you become acclimatized with their way of life. So for me, federal government of Nigeria and all the state government, local government, to synergize to see how to stop this unnecessary trend of criminality going on in Nigeria state.
Yes. Now, the issue of guarding tertiary in schools, not just tertiary institutions, from primary to university, is becoming a very, very important matter that should be taken seriously. Because when you use the word proactive, that is the only proactive thing that we should be doing. And then proper surveillance, as we talked about. Now, to rescue them seems to be what government has been doing over time. What's your take?
Yeah, you actually, I can say the question is philosophical, and then it's apt because it's exactly solution-driven I want to bring. I don't think that my friend has laid emphasis on the state of how it is so made incumbent on the government to stop all this. But the solution I'm going to prefer very quickly is that internally, or maybe externally, we are not having any external aggression, which means that if you put all the battalions in Nigeria, brigade this and that, and then you begin to look at how they can work and engage, just like you asked me the question, that is exactly what I think should be done. For example, 6th Division, which is in the Port Harcourt, what are they doing? How many of them? You take number, you take registration, and then for you who are in Port Harcourt, you can go and guide, River State University, this troop.
Or school within the vicinity of Obiabo.
Yes.
School within Borikana.
Very well, very well. Yes, and some of you go and guide, University of Port Harcourt. You will guide some school, just like you said, Niger Delta, some of those schools. If they see them, if these hooligans see that there are military presence.
You could join task force.
Yes, whatever.
So that you don't have, you don't deplete one particular military sector.
Yes, sector. So when you do this combined force and they see them that before they even approach the coming of the school, they might also get CCTV, that is showing.
Technology-driven security.
Yeah, at the 4 angles of the university.
Yeah.
People might say, oh, the university, like they show there, some uncompleted building is very vast or whatever. If you put technology there, somebody will be either in the radio house or in the monitoring unit, seeing these people marching in, and then you just give signal, and before you know, they combat them. Not that when you have already kidnapped them, they come for rescue, they might have tortured them, they might have raped them, they might have even used them emotional stress. Do you know what it is that somebody kidnapped you? Even in your lifetime, to come back to that university, to come back to that school, you will be having that apprehension. If you see somebody just walking, only the sound of walk alone, it will just trigger the thinking. And that will also, emotionally and otherwise, and can increase your BP. So I think that it is important that government should set up, in fact, while we are talking, if they hear what we are saying, they should set up a task force, because that is the war we are we having any war with any other nation? Instead of us to think about going to Niger or to go to any of these African countries that they plan coup, let us secure ourselves properly. Bring these soldiers. Every month they pay them. Whether they work, they don't work, their money is on the payroll. So let us do internal security properly. Even as also protecting farmers. Yeah. Farmers. What are we seeking? If somebody is in the barrack and every 30 days you pay him, what does we profit a country that pays somebody that is not doing anything and then is giving salaries? I don't think so. So let them put them to task. Not only that when they are constructing road or only oil companies, they siren, one, only big men. No, they should find a way to making sure that the school, the educational system, we are talking about food insecurity, they should guide the agricultural sector, and then, before you know, the people will. And then when you catch these people, how do you not tell them to interview them where these guns are coming from? Who are the sponsors? Because some people are also sponsoring this people and make money in their quiet place. As this kidnapping is talking about, and this ransom is paid. It's not only these boys that are collecting this money. If you trace the money, you can trace it back to some people who are eminent, who are prominent, profiteering, crisis profiteering entrepreneurs. They call it, yes. So they make money from it. So we should be able to stop the inflow. If we stop the inflow, you will see that this thing may not happen again, and then people can study very well. Just like you are in the university and you hear gunshot. Then tomorrow when they say you come, you say, oh boy, yesterday they shot gun, I don't want to come. So these are some of the things we need to talk about.
I think that the Nigerian educational system is seriously threatened, and the only way we can get back on track is to do a holistic reform, and security of our institutions, educational institutions, should be part of this reform? Well, both of you just talked about securing other sectors. Agriculture, for example. Farmers cannot go to farm any longer. And so all this should be put in place. When you talk about security architecture in Nigeria, it should be holistic. It's not just about chasing people in Sambisa forest or chasing unknown gunmen. It should be holistic. Every aspect of our institution,
even now on our rivers
sector, media houses, and all that should be properly guarded. They used to have military officers in schools those days.
Yes.
During the military.
Yeah.
Used to have people in radio stations.
Yeah.
At least one soldier or one policeman. We should go back to that culture. And of course, the most important aspect that he said is bringing technology into security. CCTV and what have you. Very important. Let's look at the next story. Federal government, through the National Salaries, Wages, and Income Commission, has approved payment of a newly approved percentage increase in salaries for academic and non-academic staff of all its tertiary institutions across the country. This is as the percentage increment for junior staff of tertiary institutions was raised from 23.5%, which was reviewed last year, to 25%. Our correspondent gathered that the arrears of the increment from January 2023 will also be paid. Though nothing was said about the withheld salaries of the academics and non-academics who embarked on strike in 2022. Correspondent learned that the Minister of Education, Professor Tahir Maman, earlier wrote chairman of the NSIWC, Ekonta, to demand the status of the collective. Sources within the Ministry of Education informed our correspondent that the decision of the minister to write the body might not be unconnected from visitations by some of the academic unions and intervention by some pressure groups. When asked if polytechnic lecturers were aware of the new development, the national president of the Academic Staff Union of Polytechnics, Dr. Anderson Ezeibe, said the union heard of the news and we're looking forward to the implementation. Well, we're talking about the academic sector, the educational sector. We're talking about reform. It also affects the health sector, as well as the tertiary health sector. Yeah. And now they're talking about improvement in terms of staff welfare and salary increment. It's about 2%.
Yeah.
Let's say about 2%.
Yeah, though the increment is not too significant, but the 2% by the time they calculate, I think it could be an addition.
From 23.7 to
25%. So it's a welcome development in the midst of this economic crunch that is biting hard in the country. It's not easy to take that harsh decision when fuel subsidy have strangulated every fares of the life, and we are paying extreme transportation from one point to another. So in the midst of the cash crunch, if a government can also think of increasing salaries within that range, it means that, to be very frank, they are thinking about the betterment of human.
Yeah.
So I cannot take that from them.
Yeah. Let's look at the follow-up story, so that you can join on that together.
Okay.
Meanwhile, Academic Staff Union of Universities says it has not been informed of any pay rise given lecturers in federal institutions by the federal government. National President Professor Emmanuel Osadeke said this in an interview with our correspondent on Friday. He was reacting to a circular issued by the Office of the Auditor General of the Federation regarding the increment. However, National President of the Congress of University Academics, CONUA, Dr. Nii Somonu, said he was aware of the circular. Somebody says he's aware now. He added that the pay rise was not enough, that this union would not reject it. Because that FG had earlier opposed 25% pay rise for lecturers, ready to raise that of the professors by 35%. However, in a circular issued by the Office of the Auditor General of the Federation to universities, polytechnics, and colleges of education, the Auditor General said implementation was approved by the Presidential Committee on Salaries at its 13th meeting. Well, the same thing.
It's a good one.
They said they will not reject it.
It's of it has benefits.
None of professors were raised.
Yes.
So the rest of the academic staff and non-academic staff.
Like the CONUA president has said.
Yes.
They will not reject it. Yes. They are doing their work. Let it be that. the implementation should not be delayed. But that's one of the things that we see in this country. Now it has been made public. The whole world has heard.
That's the problem.
that
will affect.
And mind you, it's only for federal tertiary institutions. Now I pray that the modalities should be put in place to make sure that the implementation should not also be delayed till 2027. But that's what we see in this country. Apprehension has been caused, whereby some of them, their creditors will be disturbing them. Your money has been increased now. Pay me my money.
Arrears
will be paid from January. So pay me my money. So it's a good one. But one of the things I want to also say, this Okonwa and ASU should not also become political, where we want to do something that will benefit everybody. You now see the divergent interest trying to destroy the expectation of the people. But whether we like it or not, the issue of increment is about the people who are working, and it's a good thing that anybody is working to have a good wage. Because when you look at the well-being of a people, it is also very important that the government should, at least in a way, make something that will improve the well-being and even the welfare of the workers. When you observe what is happening in this country, we have also seen that for some time now, the prices of things are going higher and higher on daily basis. It's not issue of monthly or yearly. It's on daily basis. So we need a proactive approach to help our workers, at least to have a kind of a positive effect on what they are passing through, because adversely people are suffering based on the economic reality of Nigeria for now. And so I would think that this is a good way of making the lecturers or workers university to have a sigh of relief in all that is happening to them. And again, as I said, these have been made public. The money should not, the salaries should not be delayed again for too long a time, when people will be asking questions, and by the time you go to the Minister of Education who has made this public, he will not give you room to answer. He will not also give you room for you to ask him, why is it that we are observing delay? Because that's what is happening in this country. He has made his pronouncements as a leader of education team in Nigeria, because he is the Minister of Education. Mind you, he has said it, and all of us at the lower half of the system are watching. Will this be translated to reality, where somebody can go to his bank account and will see a kind of an increment, or just like that? So I pray that this will have a human face in terms of implementation.
I was worried. Very quickly, I was worried why the two unions, one of them said, well, I have the secular, the other one said, I did not have secular. must they come to your office and give you secular?
It's unfortunate.
Some of these things should not always, it doesn't call for consent. If you have not seen secular and you have heard it either on the radio or on the television, so you have also part of it. And secondly, no, it's not compulsory that they should give you secular and put secular in your office. I mean, part of the union. We have different unions. So one union should not say, oh, I have heard this one, so I have not also because I'm just here. No, secular is secular.
The secretary,
the secretary is the custodian of the information. So one other group saying, I have not seen this, whatever. So, however,
they have received it.
They
have not.
However, the insignificant increment should not even cost much, because that 1.something% is not much. If you see, if they calculate it, I'm not a mathematician, it may not be more than 5,000 or 6,000.
You have to look at it holistically.
You say something.
You have to look at it holistically from 25%.
Yes.
The initial proposal was 23.
Yes.
Then they now made an addition. So
it's a big one.
But my worry, which we have always stated on this program, on programs like this over years, is the fact that we have a system in civil service that has this panic attitude towards salary increase. Why don't when Shell increases their salary, do you hear?
Oil companies. Why should they announce this own?
And this contributes in creating inflation. What we should be doing in the civil service system is to have a salary structure, a system whereby salaries of civil servants are increased monthly, not Not the
promotion.
Not the increment. The increment they do, like gives you 1 naira, 2 naira. There should be a promotion-oriented...
Quietly, too.
...kind of increment. And quietly done every year.
Every year.
Or every 3 years. Quietly. Or every 5 years. Just choose a time
They announce
frame.
that I'm being taken
and then gradually...
amount.
So within this period and this period, civil servants who are earning 10,000 should be earning 15,000. Between civil servants, you know, that kind of it. When you do that, civil servants will breathe. And the market forces will not take over what...
That is it.
This is a country, they don't plan now. They don't plan.
So that's the problem.
We're in a bazaar market.
I think we'll go on a water break for 2 minutes. And when we come back, we'll continue with this segment. Don't go away.
People into the country illegally. That is amazing. Honourable human trafficker. Honourable
They are not picking our calls. They made up their minds. I am the
You're welcome back. It is your Saturday morning show, Atlantic Television Saturday, your weekend flagship program on this frequency. Well, let's look at the next story. Natives, a pro-democracy group, has come out in defense of President Bola Tinubu's recent appointments. According to the group, Tinubu has been true to his word of bringing renewed hope to the nation through fair and just implementation. The natives, which consist of 371 ethnic, religious, and tribal backgrounds with around 20 million members in the country, also congratulated the President on his successful outing at the 2023 United Nations General Assembly. A statement in Abuja by the Supreme Leader of the Natives, Honorable Smart Edwards, said the group is happy and proud of what the President and Vice President Kashim Shettima have accomplished within the first 100 days in office. According to the statement, nobody could fathom the choice of a young lady as Minister of Youth, a known NSAS promoter in the same plane as the President as Minister of Digital Economy. Also said that the appointment of former Governor Wike, who is from the opposition party, as the head of the Federal Capital Territory was also deemed surprising. Different groups. They say they are natives, 391. And maybe natives without borders will also come up one of these days to make their positions. We have different groups. And well, the indication is there that there are people who are applauding the president for 100 days in office. So the ball is in your court to do the assessment, following their cue.
Yeah, very quickly, you know that these non-governmental organizations, there are many of them we have not known of. Yeah. In fact, I'm surprised that I'm hearing this one for the first time. During the campaign, I did not hear them. I did not see anything that concerned them anywhere.
Natives.
Either online or offline. But now, and that is one thing that Tortoise said. It is when you see the food, you know the right hand of Tortoise, whether he's a leftist or a rightist. Now food has come on the table. You see the native, you see the villagers, you see different nomenclatures, different names. However, assessing the 100 days in office is not the wrong thing. But sometimes I look at assessing this 100 days in office. It's like we are beginning to make it like a norm. I don't know where it started from. I can't know the background. Yes. But 100 days in office is not too significant for me to, look at everything within the 90, 100 days after 3 months and some few days in office. However, there's something that they pointed out there that is outcome at the very important meeting, the United General Assembly. The outcome was very powerful. A lot of people are commenting on that. Even Barrister Abakoba, former NBA president, a lot of people said the vocality, the nature of how President Tinubu expresses himself at that meeting was so much to the face of the capitalists and the neo-colonialists who were there, and how they capture African sub-region with the West and then impoverish them, and we will no longer, Africa will no longer. But if at all, is not only saying rhetorics, only stories, and then at the end of the day, at the backyard of it, then the white people will still find a way and chat away all our, mineral resources and make African poor. Because that is some of the things that is increasing the coup that is in the West African sub-region, whereby whatever you come from, whether you are from Russia, whether you're from China, you are from this, most of the colonial government before is now holding sway.
Especially the Francophone countries.
Yeah, countries more. On the African countries, taking everything from them, impoverishing them, even though when they bring company that are there, the company will so much deal with the workers that even the payment increment will not be there. They will promise them for years. Yes. So I think that, look at it holistically, the 100 days, and they talk at the UN, so much good, but the appointment, I cannot score the appointment because it hasn't gone around yet. There are so many board and parastatals, there are so many figures. In fact, even Bonwoke and Payozuko here, we have not been appointed. So I cannot say that it's all around now. But the one that we have seen, yes, some youths are there appointed for the fact that we have not seen it for a long time in this country. So when we see young girls that are in ministerial position, it's good something to comment.
Okay. Now, these global engagements, it has to do with multilateral organizations and bilateral, contacts across the globe has been commended. Yeah. And maybe a commentator once told me that the reason why people are applauding Tinubu's outing at UNGA, United Nations General Assembly, because they are looking at it in contrast with our former president, whose outing at the UN last time was so boring and was so unpresidential. And so that contrast is what seems to be giving Tinubu so much hype. Do you agree?
Yes, I must, yes, because I listened to the president expressing the opinion of Nigerian people, I quote Nigerian people, at the UN General Assembly. Now, he was so vocal. The audacious nature of his presentation was in order. In short, to be frank, he has not made such presentation in Nigeria since he became president. In short, he's so eloquent. I don't know whether it's because of the social media, because everything about his voice was so audible. No, I took time to monitor.
He chose his
everything,
words.
the diction, everything was in order. I didn't know because maybe our leaders, when they go to the international stage, in a way, they try to polish everything. So for me, it was a good one. When you talk of President Tinubu's presentation at the U.S. National Assembly in New York City, USA, fantastic.
Even in India.
Fantastically done. Yeah. But my concern is that, like, even at that, in that presentation, he never mentioned subsidy removal. But we are still having the adverse effect of the subsidy removal. But that's one of the major points he raised while making his presentation at the UN General Assembly. Now, coming to what this group is saying, for me, I have taken time to observe also, but I have not seen, if you, like, I will just align myself to you, the issue of youth, fine. But apart from that, the issue of maybe sentiment in terms of appointment is still here, it's still in this administration. I've taken time to do my own critical analysis. Apart from what we call the ministerial appointment, order by status and agency. I've seen nepotism playing out. Okay, why did he also put the Yoruba man there as a state governor? No, we have to be also, if somebody is trying to move from the past, we need to see the present not reflecting also the past. The group calling themselves natives. Native of which place? Is it native? You know, sometimes in Nigeria, because we want to, we believe in a high level of sacrifice, political sacrifice. And so we just come up with something and say native. Native, or is it native of Abuja? Is it native of Port Harcourt or native of Andoni?
The name of your NGO.
You know,
natives of Nigeria.
It's native of Nigeria. So for me, that name, for me, is questionable. And again, the people they are only protecting their interests how to get access to what Nigerians call national cake. If not for me, I have not seen, but this 100 days in office, if Nigerians will be sincere, we have not seen any headway from the wood. So this is one of the things too that is making our leaders not to be proactive in handling our or daunting problems or challenges that we are facing, because some people just come up and say, oh, don't worry, you are the one who has done more than every. Like somebody said that Tinubu has done more than Awolowo. So, this is what we hear in Nigeria, trying to clamp down on what the people are saying, do it right for the first time. Now you see some faceless individuals, some individuals who think they have access to the control of power and they will receive some money, like you just said, to gather some crowd in Abuja. Some security agencies will not allow you to come if you don't have link to Mr. President or to ministers of this or that. Yeah. So for me, it is high time we try to stop what will the devil, what will come against the yearnings of Nigeria in terms of good governance, development, because this is one thing that will score through good governance. When in 100 days in office, you are giving him 100%, when we have not seen 1% of things being done. Like I would say, like I will not miss word to say that his position at the UN National Assembly is superb. But coming to the Nigerian issue, for me, I will not give it 5%. Because we are here to come out of what?
My friend, that appears too low. How can you say
no,
that?
No, you accepted that he has appointed youth. Yes. So the appointment, can that one not carry 10%?
20%.
No, you see?
You can't award
at all.
No. You can't award him letters.
Yeah.
These people seem to have awarded him A.
In fact, you're supposed to link it up that saving money, if not because the money is not properly... Wait. If not because the money is not properly utilized, and putting in this spendthrift of the so-called palliative, that you are able to recoup 1.something trillion within just 3 months.
We're still paying arrears of subsidies.
I'm hearing.
Also, it's arrears.
That one is arrears, yeah. So for you to have saved the money, the thing that I got angry is that don't use that 1.something trillion to go and buy Indomie, buy yam, buy this into Shia, and say poorest of the poor. No, that is so much wrong thing. If not, within the hemisphere of what he has done.
I think he has taken the right steps.
Yes,
It's just
so far.
some of the steps have not really materialized.
Yeah, of course,
because, for example, the attempt to reform the central bank, the attempt to reform the forex regime, and the rejigging of the security chiefs and all that.
Oh, yeah, okay.
If these things begin to bring result, I think there is a president who has a new,
And then somebody who is doing, not to interrupt you, if they want to do plea bargain, somebody who stole our money, billion, let us know the amount the person wants to bring and the one they have stolen. And then when you bring the money, let us use that money. Don't mix it with federation account. I always say that.
Yes, okay.
When you recoup money, corrupt money from somebody, don't put it in the federation account. Stuff it in the escrow account. Let us use it to repair our roads and our refineries.
Let's take the next story still about Tinubu. Well, his Renew Hope agenda seems to be having given some legs to walk. If they begin to walk, then we can now give him proper kudos. Maybe in the next landmark, that could be 1 year in office.
Yeah.
Now, let's look at President Bola Tinubu has joined Nigerians, academia, and the scientific community in congratulating Professor Hippolyte Amadi for being awarded the 2023 edition of the Nigerian Prize for Science. They call that advisory board of the Nigerian Prize for Science on Thursday announced Professor Amadi's novel, scientific work on respiratory technologies for preserving the lives of newborn babies as the winner of the 2023 edition prize. His winning invention comprises a non-invasive neonatal ventilator, an oxygen delivery blender system, an oxygen splitter system, all powered by solar energy. Professor Amazi, a distinguished professor of medical technology at Imo State University and a visiting professor of medical engineering and technology at Imperial College London, was honored for his groundbreaking respiratory technologies for newborns. Commending this innovative healthcare solution, President Tinubu expressed delight that the Nigerian scientists' innovation has already reduced neonatal care costs significantly and saved lives in verified hospitals that have adopted the use of the solar-powered neonatal ventilator. The President commended Professor Amadi for leveraging his existence background, medical engineering and technology, with a special focus on affordable medical systems for the betterment, progress, and betterment of Nigerian society in general. Very interesting story there. Sounds like a citation even.
Yeah.
And now Nigerians are beginning to walk. We have brilliant Nigerians.
Very well.
But the point is that rather than have them impact on the development of Nigeria, we're talking about this innovation age, information age. We have people who are using their genius and intellectual disposition to do the wrong things. That is the problem. But I like this commendation. We should reward excellence, not Big Brother Niger.
You see, like you said, thank God for Mr. President's response. This is what I call a research-oriented work done by the professor. And most of some professors in Nigeria, like you said, we have the intellects to do what we call inventions that will change lives of Nigerians. Yes. But what we do, sometimes some researchers are not empowered to engage on critical research or researches that will transform lives in Nigeria. Like this man now. If you go critically and go and watch, maybe the funding that he got could be from foreign. We know we have seen from Dango, he has also access to London school. Because I knew of a professor in Nigeria, in ABU Zaria, one Professor Mohammed, who looked for just 5 million naira in those days as a grant to do research on palm seedling. Nigerian government did not give such money to him.
When money had value, right?
Yes, when 5 million. But at that point, he had access to Malaysia and asked for a grant of $20 million, not in naira again. And that country gave him that money. That man made it to know that nothing that is a waste in palm tree, everything is productive. Everything is a resource. So what am I saying to say? This is a man who is breaking, at least from what the president has said, the issue of newborn babies dying anyhow will be curtailed because of his scientific breakthrough. It's a good one. But I also pray that the government should rejig research centers in Nigeria. Because I've been to Cocoa Institute. It's supposed to be a research center in Nigeria. If you go there now, it's like a moribund, it's moribund. But nothing is working. And that's what today, when Africa and other West African countries are talking of cocoa in terms of their revenue generation, which is about the economy, cocoa has gone underground in Nigeria. That doesn't mean that cocoa is not in Nigeria. I thought cocoa is still very common in the western part of Nigeria. But as we're discussing today, cocoa is not one of the things one of the things that is carrying our economy. Rather, we all talk about oil. Like I've said to people, with this development, it is obvious that the government, if we are actually having our thinking cap, we should be able to help researchers to embark on areas that will also grow our economy. But with this now, it can also attract foreign investors to Nigeria to learn from this man. How did he do it? So West African countries can also come and say, look, our brother, come and show us what you do. Because what I've seen in the US Assembly is that Africans now, some leaders have come on board to tell us we need to go the African way. Because it's like we have come to know that all what the Western countries are using, they are from Africa. Like today, I did a research. No state in this country called Nigeria that doesn't have more than 3-5 mineral resources. But what do we see? We have uranium in Nigeria. As I'm talking to you now, with you now. But what do we do? Uranium is a waste to Nigeria. And that's why people are fighting in those areas. Cutting away uranium to foreign militias who come to say, take bombs and give all this uranium to go and develop their nuclear weapon there. So for me, this is a good development that every concerned Nigeria should start to see how to improve on it.
Okay.
So the federal government of Nigeria should improve on this and also, not just giving our rhetorics to praise him. We need this man to also at least groom others. And it will be a kind of, this is Nigerian made. Yeah. We need to export our knowledge to the outside world, to make money also. That's my concern on it.
All right, that's a very brilliant one. I think that research is to be encouraged. That's the high point of what he said. We should encourage research. Wrap off.
Yeah, I do think that, I think one Professor Abaraka also missed out when Nigerians could not support the man in the ADs of HIV/AIDS and then other places. I think it's good that Mr. President have given that kudos. However, we should find a way to rally around this man, Professor Amadi, to also trickle down to, be looking at research areas to encourage other universities to replicate such. Because if it's just only him trying to do that, having this award and maybe his monetary aspect, and then the London University is going to hold sway to him, at the end of the day, it will not. Just like President Tinubu have also called on Nigerians at the diaspora to please come and invest in Nigeria. I think that this Professor Amadi will bring a lighting hope to Nigerian university, and whereby a lot of people will also gain from it. And then likewise, we should reward very important, excellent, non-mediocrity, even in politics. We so much reward mediocrity and people who are not doing anything at the lower level of politics. And because of that, a lot of people are not encouraged. They say, oh, look at this man. He doesn't, he's a gun runner. At the end of the day, give him an appointment. It was this and that. It was a hooligan. Or this. So let us look at qualities. Because if we now reward qualities, then people will learn to have quality. That's the brief I can say.
Well, I think that to round off that story, we have to realize that professors are there for research. Huh? The job of a university teacher is teaching and research. And what we see in most institutions nowadays is not about research. It's about writing articles and all that. And the issue of actual research is not there. And the recycler. There was a university professor in London who talked about how lecturers become professors these days. Recycling articles and writing articles that cannot produce anything. Yeah. That's unproductive articles.
Yes.
And they're just
publishing in journals.
Publishing journals, and those who preside over the journals welcome them because of their name and all that. And they're just unproductive. So what this professor has done is to encourage productive research.
Yeah.
So that when you write articles, such published articles should be able to lead to something. shouldn't just be an end itself, but a means to an end.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of research-oriented professorial tools that we should be talking about in our institutions of learning in Nigeria. I think we're rounding off. Have you spoken?
Yeah, on that, very briefly.
On that, yes.
Yeah.
So that is an aspect that we really look at, because I want us to round off this segments before we take off the next segment.
Okay.
Let's again revisit this issue of research and teaching in universities.
Yeah.
Some university professors have been distracted these days by some kind of untoward behavior. So what happened at University of Calabar?
Yeah.
We've talked about professors who get involved in election rigging and all that.
Yeah.
Let's use that to round off this thing.
Yeah, very quickly, I think that reorientation and orientation, value-driven character should propel the way we operate in Nigeria. And then universities, a lot of people are buying results, allegedly anyway, because sometimes when students pay this money, people are not also there. So people are telling you that what is the evidence, what evidence do you have? But I think characteristically, people who are doing well, you can mentor them. You mentor people who think you are, doing well. And that is why people are also criticizing when we have so many PhDs, who cannot actually defend. Most defending, not that you're going to produce atomic bomb or not we're going to bring a Vaseline or any product, but because of even in the way, the way that what you are, the cost of which you stand in, that you have these things, you cannot even defend. Or maybe having a first degree or a master's degree. In those days, from elementary school, within elementary 6 and class 5, as it was, not now that it's class 6, people can rely on you and you can be able to represent the society anywhere you find yourself.
That's why the basic education in Nigeria
is very important, because that is the nucleus. I remember that I left school so many years and I did not get into higher institution for over 25 years after my secondary school.
But you were fending for yourself.
Yes, and I was fending for, and then there was not much gap between somebody who was a university person and me. I just get higher education. I used to tell people, after I left school in 1986, I left secondary school in 1986. I didn't get any forward to any university, not until 2010, and a very smaller level at a diploma in journalism. Yeah. But while I was in this long, educational wilderness, I did not fall prey on the ground. I was still, affecting my society positively. So most time, we need to support people who have the zeal, the capability and the capacity to do something, and not running too much for the nomenclature of certificate having. You have a certificate, you have certificate. No. And that is why we need to also screen certificates at the oil companies. I used to even accuse them that most people who are in the oil companies, they should screen their certificate, because some of the certificates might have been printed from, business centers. And then, because you are in the oil company, nobody put a light on there. Exactly. We should look at certificates very properly and reward people who have what they can offer, not certificates.
You see, for me, I feel that the value system. My value is what I present. The system of this country is presenting people who are not value-oriented in terms of having value. It's only those who can fight. If the government is now after those who can carry gun and disrupt election for anybody to win, why won't somebody go and buy a certificate? Because the only certificate you need now is power. Power to disrupt public peace and put in somebody. So, and it's also, like I was telling some students somewhere, the moment education is not seen as the key to development, this country will go down. And one day we'll begin to kill ourselves. And that's what is happening, because no much interest is put on education by the government. There's no, I read the last book that this person wrote, and that Chinua Achebe, there was a country. In that book, I took that, I was reading that book as if I had not read before. I took maybe only 1 week to finish that book because of the quest to know. It was that book. In that book, he said, when somebody won what we call common interest in those days to go to, maybe to go to secondary school, that the Commission of Education then went to the boys' house. What an encouragement. Today you can even make scientific breakthrough. Okay. You don't see accolade from the government. So I pray that government should begin to encourage people.
Well, thank you very much. I think that's the much we can take for this segment. Education should be taken seriously. Well, the university professor has shown example of what it is to be a professor, and that's what we're talking about. We had the Awojobi of those days, professors who were what they sought to be called professors. The Professor K's of this world. So even if you're not in the scientific field, you're able to propound theories that will drive social development.
Yeah.
The Professor Izimi Rose of this world, Professor K. Williamson, and all that. Professor Tekena Tamono, these are professors that were innovative, who brought about a lot, even though in the arts and humanities, or humanities and social science, they brought theories and ideas that drove social engineering, and that's what we're talking about. And if you're in sciences, you should be productive. Productive like Professor Amadi has been, and that's what is being celebrated by the president. We'll go on a short break. When we come back, we'll do more on some of these issues and more. And of course, you know the last segment of this program is entertainment. Don't go away. Welcome back. It is still Atlantic Television Restaurant Table. We're back from a water break, and we are continuing. We've had an additional guest here. Dr. Abraham Joe Ikiri is here in the studio. Well, he's a friend of the house, and he's always here, even on radio.
At short notice.
At short notice. When the rain was so heavy, and, I was shocked. I was doubtful about all these great men coming. I had to add him to the list too. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Always there because he's a friend of the house. Well, the next story, Dr. Olayemi Cardoso has assumed office as governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN. A statement by the Director of Corporate Communication of the Apex Bank, Dr. Issa Abdulmumini, disclosed this in a statement on Friday. Added that Dr. Cardoso will occupy the office in acting capacity pending the confirmation of his nomination by the National Assembly. The director confirmed the resignation of Mr. Godwin Emefiele as CBN governor. Similarly, Folashuddin Shoibu, who has been acting as Shonibi as CBN governor since the suspension of Emefiele, has also resigned along with deputy governors of the bank. Of course, you know there's a purge in the bank. And some deputy governors were asked to resign voluntarily. Is it compulsory resignation? And let's see where the reform is taking us to. You know the legal implication. You're a lawyer. Abraham Ikiri is a lawyer. He's a journalist. I know him more as a journalist and a public relations person. Well, he has a law degree, which is very bad. He has to be acting before confirmation.
Yes, that is always the procedure, the legal procedure. Except he has the National Assembly's nod, especially the Senate, he will not be in a substantive capacity to approve some of the things. That is why that procedure, that aspect, he has to go to the National Assembly. But apart from that, personal changes is different from reforms, policy reforms, which we are very much inquisitive to have. Now, the first one is there is a Supreme Court judgment that by 31st December, this old Naira note will cease to be. Because they gave us relief, we have all gone to sleep. Whether any person will come to say, okay, continue with the old Naira note, that Supreme Court judgment must have to be obeyed. That's the first one. Then the second one that strikes me every time I go to Rumuola Presidential Hotel, you see some Hausa people litter. In fact,
no, some non-rivers, not say Hausa.
Whether whatever name, they show you this hard currency. They show you the hard currency. Meanwhile, some people there in the offices don't have. That you now begin to ask, how manage?
Do you know that if you go to the bank, you're talking about Forex.
Yes.
When the president talked about abolishing the parallel market, and I was laughing. When you go to a bank and you're looking for hard currency, they will say they will call a mala
at the outside bank to still come and give
you in the bank. So the banks don't have.
Don't have.
And that was why the aviation sector was complaining about, some of their airplanes being grounded.
Yes.
Air Peace, for example, talked about a number of amount of money grounded in central bank because of this Forex issue.
So that is what I'm talking about.
Yes.
How does this money get to? Last month, the former emir of Kano made a very subtle revelation, which has just, because we are suffering from what we call national collective amnesia. People forget so soon. They don't use statements from such people very seriously. He said, he know of a young man who went to buy dollars, 400 and something Naira, and now started selling for 900 and something Naira per dollar. And he's bought an aircraft for himself, bought houses in Saudi Arabia and America and all that, just to sell
Forex,
currency. Yes.
So some of these people that hang around are the agents.
Yes.
It's a syndicate.
You see, that is why I said Bola Ahmed Tinubu, President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, is not doing enough. You'll find out that in the last administration, when they recover Abacha loot, they share. When they borrow money, they share. And this money is
borrowing to fund the budget.
Yes. No, but you see,
because there was a continuous deficit.
Now, instead of him, to recover this money from these people, we have seen somebody who said he spent so much money on Nigerian Air, then went to Ethiopia to borrow one of the Ethiopian airlines and showcased and made so much noise and all that. The team failed. The money that was given to him, more than $2 billion, to set up that team has not been recovered from him. And yet, we find it easy for the government to task, to labor, to suffer innocent Nigerians, because that is easier for them. So, it is a task for the new central bank governor to begin to reform. First of all, bringing the parallel and the official market does not mean that the government side should meet the parallel side. It is.
So what's the essence of floating the naira?
Ask me. Then it is, I was thinking that the so-called parallel market must come down.
We disappear. We disappear.
We disappear. But now we still have it. It's just like...
So you're talking about the central bank reform generally?
Yes.
And you don't seem to see any headway?
Yes.
So can you hear?
What I want to say...
That he said reform is different from changing personnel.
Personnel.
But it's true.
That's what you're saying.
Reform is about the policy of government and programs.
Not just change of personnel.
Not just but they can still be there and nothing will change. They still continue with the old order. Now, with this Kaduso being the Atn Saturday bank governor, I pray that the issue of Naira going down on daily basis, there is need for Central Bank of Nigeria, not just as a body in charge of regulation of financial issues in Nigeria, to see how to, at least to give loans to be able to establish cottage industries in Nigeria. Because one of the things that you will see playing out is that most, if we are talking of percentage.
Sorry, there is a bank of industry.
I agree.
That is doing that.
Yes.
The central bank has been giving loans for agriculture. I think that's where they should be for.
Yes. That's what I'm saying.
Because for SMEs, you have the bank of industry.
They should also, sometimes all this
they should also participate.
That is it. Most, I don't want to mention anybody's name.
Yeah.
We've had somebody taking loan direct from central bank to build refineries. We had it in this country. So there are some areas that central bank can involve itself to rejig our economy, whether we like it or not. See, the influence of dollars on Nigerians, not on our currency now, is because of lack of products being produced within the country that will sell outside.
Yeah.
What if you observe today, one of the things that I see as a Nigerian is that what the major product that controls the life and revenue of Nigeria is crude oil. And crude oil now is being detected by dollars. Why? Because we only depend in the international market, not in our local market. The local market that I observe by my little research or investigating what is happening is to make money from Nigerians. Why am I saying so? The moment we begin to refine our crude with Naira in Nigeria, you will see that the hardship that we are seeing now, in a way, can be reduced minimally.
Very beautiful.
Let me just correct one impression.
Now, I'll add one thing to that before you correct. The issue of, talking about central bank reform, one of the problems we've had with central bank is the issue of ways and means, the money that government people borrow from central bank. How is this affecting the economy? Because I hear that it is contributing to the large debt that government at both center and subnational levels are involved.
Because it is the same central bank that will invite in the name of empowerment.
And I hear that ways and means and all that has to do with printing of the naira.
Yes. So they say they will give loan and say, don't worry, we will cancel it as bad debt. It is going on here. Don't worry, we'll give loan and all that. But don't worry.
The loans you give to subnational level, states and all that.
During the COVID period, people in the name of empowerment, we are giving some things.
Okay.
But tell me who and who benefited from it, and what are their names, and when will they repay? That is. Now, my issue is...
Yes. What you want to correct?
Yes. It is not that. It is not that if we begin to refine our own oil, something magical. The psychological sense of dollarization of our economy. Someone told me that he can't remember when he touched the naira last. He has this sense of a foreign, and you recall that we are refining our oil when Idiabon was there. When Idiabon said holding of foreign currency at that time in Nigeria is a crime, and people went in for it. That time, $1 was our 4 naira. Is it 4 naira? Or? Thereabout. So it is a question of putting some economic measure. Like, so an investor told me that he wants to export something.
I do know that, without prejudicing your disposition, I do know that adjustment of fuel pump is a very serious matter and should be policed. Seriously, the DPR, I don't see them doing that recent time.
Well, let me just say, are they waking up from sleep? Do they need to come and announce? This is their statutory duty. If they had been doing this for some time, it would have eternalized in the person's concern. But they just announce and do 1 week and go. See, motorists are crying that people consciously, deliberately dispense air
into the car.
Into the car.
You buy 10,000 naira from your time, it's free.
By the time you, this is a crime. And it is not only here, it is not only in, they should also extend it to the terminal. If you go to all those places,
where they load.
Yes, where they load crude oil. You know,
refined oil.
No, our crude for ship to go, and we are not refining anything now. Now, you see there is a line of what makes a liter. The Nigerians who are operating there will be giving $1 and they will fill it to the brim. This is still part.
So there's corruption in
everywhere.
In upstream and downstream.
Yes. The people are staff of NNPC.
Yes. Now let me put another angle to it before you come in, so that you can add to that. We have the state ministries of energy. It's their job. But no, see, those days, when you have the Ministry of Energy to go around to see filling stations that are operating outside the law and all that. When there's scarcity, they ensure that people are not hoarding and all that. The issue of adjustment of fuel pump price should also be part. They should collaborate, synergize with federal government agencies to ensure that, you know, those who buy fuel are not shortchanged. Are they there just for the fun of it?
Well, they are not there for the fun of it, ordinarily. They are supposed to protect the consumers. That these fuel attendants are cheating on daily basis, even as we're discussing here. Like you just said, people will go to filling stations to fill their car. Before you know, the liters, the normal gauge is not there. It's a product of the society. And even those who are to check or to monitor, by the time they go there, their aim is to make money. And that is a factor that we need to unbundle.
So they get compromised.
That's it. The idea of compromise, so people are just going there to make the money, not to correct the system that is bedeviling our economy, our social life, our trust. They're not there for that. Like you just said, see, as we are discussing on issue of downstream and upstream, in Nigeria, it is done in secrecy. Because we are not producing more than Saudi Arabia. I've done a kind of, because of the quest to do something, to know something, also to enlighten, maybe to Saudi, and also to enlighten myself. Saudi Arabia produces about 8 to 9 million barrels per day. And they know as you lift it from the aircraft, there is a device checking, monitoring everything that comes up to any place they know. Here in Nigeria, we are between maybe 1.4, 1.5 per day. Per day, oh, the giant of Africa, per day. And we don't know what is actually coming up. It is the figures they give to us that we take. Not what is actually coming up from the H cross. But we refuse to also buy the technology. It's available that you can store it and it will check. But it's a deliberate effort by those who are there.
Foreign oil IOCs.
They can employ, they can get it. But this is a system where we don't want anything to be made public. It is what you say. That's why they are not accountable.
Is it not because the upstream sector, is it the upstream now?
Upstream and downstream.
They are the same.
The exploitation of oil is controlled by foreigners and foreign technology. Well, it is not that we can only do that, what Saudi Arabia is doing, when our people are fully involved in exploitation. Because we don't know how much we're actually bringing out of this.
Yes. The oil industry is about collaboration. There's no
transparency.
It is our system. Even in Saudi Arabia, you have foreigners who are employed in that oil industry. Because even when you talk before you step into the web, I'm privileged to know what I'm saying. It's about our system, because those in government go to any business towers in Abuja. The top building you see there. They don't know anything about what they're after. It was some papers of what those who are there give to them. Ordinarily, they need.
And then this is not the ones drilling. Shell and all the.
I mean, yes, they are also just that we are doing. I agree. Just that we are discussing central bank.
Yeah. Okay. Institutional failure.
That is it. Institutional failure. For you to know what they are changed, whether NPC limited or whatsoever. The issue that they have the mandate of Nigerian people to know what we are bringing out, also to know how much we are sending out. Are you aware in this country? The NPC will tell us when there's a panic buying. Hey, don't worry, we have well over 1.something liters of oil in the country. Before you know, just in a period of 1 week, there will be scarcity. So who is believing who? My concern on this aspect is that the upstream and the downstream, there must be a serious scrutiny by Mr. President. Because as it is now, Mr. President is the president of Nigeria and the minister of oil. And again, looking at it very well, holistically.
Yeah.
This issue of issuing threats have been the sung and unsung songs of our leaders who are in the oil sector, who control the resources. They will tell you, oh, we check. They are not doing the proper thing. And that's why those who are there too also not doing the right thing, because when they go there, they give them money. Those who will be drafted out to go and monitor, their aim is, please, what do you get? As we are discussing that, go to all this information around here now, their meters are not properly figured.
Yeah, sorry, you joined that. The government President Tinubu has created 2 ministries out of petroleum. They have the gas, they have the petroleum.
Fine.
Will this improve the governance of hydrocarbons in Nigeria?
Well, it is.
As a extractive industry.
Yes, it is perceived that when it was one, the emphasis, I mean, it was like overload. Nothing was being accounted for from the gas. So because it was lumped together, perhaps giving a special function on gas to one person and special function on oil, another may make. But one thing I wanted to say is that only last month, OPEC said Nigeria has moved from its past position to the second position now on oil production in Africa, and said...
Second to Angola, right?
Yes, and said that the production capacity has moved from 1.1 to now 1.6 million. Now, At the same time, the NNPC's chief executive officer, yes, told Nigerians that what we had, it has improved, but what is produced is 1.4.
1.4, yes.
See who is right.
The international community is 1.6?
Yes.
So it confirms what you're saying.
Yes.
I don't know how much you are producing.
Yes. 1.6 and 1.4. And in places where governance is taken seriously, government supposed to probe that.
Sanction.
Because if we produce 1.6, because the OPEC, they have the technology to monitor promptly.
So who is reaping from the
good? That is the good. That is the question.
That one Nigeria for the
yes, the cabals in the oil sector, yes. The cabals in the oil sector are still very active. Yes, they are still active.
Which is
very active.
Billions of naira.
It's still very active. So that is the question. Now, if you come to the balkanization of oil, of gas, and all that, we do not see. Because the people they appointed and the functions have not been segregated. Okay. You will find out that when the Minister of State for Oil came visiting Port Harcourt Refinery, he was accompanied by the Minister of State of Gas. Wherever they are going now, two of them, as if
they're twins.
Like that.
Two ministries.
Yes.
So they are still being served by the same civil servant.
That's the same thing. It is like calling one Ministry of Blue Economy and
Marine.
Ministry of Blue and Marine.
And there is confusion.
No, that's not separated. It's Blue and Marine.
And there is confusion.
I thought Ministry of Blue Economy.
Blue Economy. Marine and Blue Economy.
Yeah.
Blue Economy. Now, I had the Minister of Transportation.
Yes.
Who has the responsibility originally on MPA and water, marine, and everything. That his job has been taken away from him. What is what is remaining now is only railway for him. Then meanwhile,
Ministry of Transport?
Yes.
Okay, aviation is different now.
Aviation is different. So Ministry of Transportation is supposed to be.
So what about water transportation?
All of them are now in blue economy and marine.
Okay, water transportation.
Yes, so MPA now, that used to be under transportation.
Inland waterways,
all of them are now on blue economy.
So the man only railway they do now.
Yes,
sorry,
in fact,
sorry for speaking pidgin on this. It's only railway is doing.
So it's only railway, and happily enough, he came to Port Harcourt
within the week.
Yes, within the week, and condemned the slow pace of our railway. The thing that was signed 3 years ago, and
it's narrow gauge. It's not even wide gauge.
Like that.
He was also angry with him using manual.
Instead of the technology they promised. That's a CECC. So these are the things we are talking about. You will find out that the formation of Ministry of Petroleum Gas and Ministry of Petroleum Oil may not do any big thing. And if it is to do anything, our expectation is we want to know the data. The flaring of gas.
That's the point.
When is it going to end?
2000.
The flaring of gas.
There's a reform now talking about how to generate more money from flaring. That's a big question. Good. When I heard that story, I was worried.
See,
so flaring more money, that's blood money.
No, you see, not even.
That's what I'm talking about. See, I'm talking about how to generate more money from flaring.
Good. See, it was supposed to be.
In terms of tax.
It was supposed to be a punishment. It is an international
it's like
measure.
Kill more persons and pay fine for killing people. That's what it means.
No, it means that the campaign, the national campaign carried out by the Transparency International,
yes,
brought this idea. And now they say there is no way you can easily stop flaring without increasing. No, they pay.
I know.
They
They pay for cubic, they pay penalty.
I know.
Cubic. But the problem is that the money is not going to the people who are suffering directly.
That's it.
You charge this oil.
There's an international law which has to do with the polluter pays. So, and it is a common policy. A lot of environmentalists, I remember when the UN program came here, I worked closely with them. That's when they're talking about this organic cleanup and all that. And they were talking about the danger in this polluter pays, that people are taking it too far. And it is blood money. It's blood money.
Yes.
Look for a way to enthrone,
remove this thing.
You know, green energy. And bring clean economy.
Yes.
You know, rather than say, kill people and pay more. And then the country is even excited about it. Like you rightly observed. The fact that people are now going to pay more for flaring has not shown in terms of physical revenue we are getting.
No, it doesn't.
It has not rubbed off
anything.
Yes.
This money is being one few group, just like what they
if there's transparency in that process, then Nigerians will clap.
Let me say something on this matter. You see, I have sat down somewhere to think about what is happening in this country. It is believed that without oil, no nation called Nigeria. And because of that, everything is done in secrecy. Because if we are allowed to know what actually goes on in the oil industry, it means Nigerians will be so angry. And that's why they try to do what I call hanky-panky, to make sure that we are disallowed. Just let it go. Then whatever is happening there, go. Like you just said also, the Minister of Gas, it's going to be at least a benefit to Nigerians. Yeah. That we have a gas. Are you aware? Like I was saying some people last week somewhere. In the 80s, there was also gas being used in our houses. But by that time, how many houses were using gas as their cooking energy? Very few, even in Port Harcourt here. Now that it has become a common thing, they have increased the price so that the common man will suffer and they will make more money too from the common man. Because we have been flying gases for too long a time. And now that we need to benefit. Energy is there and other gas industries in Nigeria. That's supposed to be beneficial to the common man. Today now we don't have access to kerosene in this country. Even wood. We are also preaching against deforestation of our forests. And so gas has become the best alternative. And today too, the government of the day, we have thank God for the creation of a Ministry of Gas. It's a good one that will have helped Nigerians to have access to cheap gas. Yes, but today the reverse is the case. You can see the quantities of gas in Nigeria now. Yes. Gas is even going higher than petrol, than diesel, because they know that it has become the hope of the poor masses of Nigerians who are eager also, because if you use gas, the benefit is there that anybody can see. One, your cooking utensils will not also get black. And they don't want the government to enjoy again.
That's domestic advantage.
That's it.
And, you know, the deception was that when, you know, gas was the one that suffered the first casualty in fuel, subsidy removal. When they brought everything about gas and diesel to 700 and something, okay, it's diesel, 700 and something, they said they have exhausted, there is no more removal. But what is happening now? Deception. The issue is that the federal government must set up a think tank. A think tank. If you want to know what is happening in Nigerian petroleum industry, go outside. You can't get the information in Nigeria. And let me use this opportunity to also call on the federal government. What we have now as PIA is not what a petroleum industry act should be. It is not beneficial to the host communities. It is not.
Yeah, let's talk more about that. Go ahead.
Yes, it is not beneficial to the host community because when you say 3% to the host community, you will see the procedure of even assessing, cumbersome procedure, even assessing the 3%. That is why I have not seen from my side, I'm from an oil-producing community who have not had that so amount of money has been paid out. Well, apart from that, the PIA is beneficial to people who are not even in the producing areas. Now, because it's beneficial to pipeline, those hosting pipeline. That is, if you now see the pipeline running from here to Kaduna, carrying crude from the Niger Delta to refine in Kaduna, those villages in Kogi, in all those places, yes, they have provision that is even more than those oil producing.
Well, let's take the next story. I think that the gas story is a very big one. Naturally, we were talking about a gas reform in this country, and we have the Trans-African gas pipeline and all that. A lot of people are complaining that we are selling more than we are consuming. That is it. That the optimum production of gas, or there should be optimal utilization internally, just as we have export, we have gas for export to increase our revenue. Let's take the next story. Nigerian Labour Congress has debunked reports making the rounds that it has embarked on an indefinite nationwide strike. Online reports indicated that the union commenced its planned strike on Friday after its ultimatum to the federal government elapsed on Thursday. Organized labor had threatened to shut down the country's economy to protest against the government's failure to meet its demands. The union is asking the federal government to provide adequate palliatives that would cushion the effects of removal of fuel subsidy. And as previously embarked on a 2-day warning strike on September 5 and 6, during which it issued a 14-day ultimatum. Government's efforts to quell the move for an indefinite strike have not yielded any fruit, as the union still insists that it will shut down the economy if these demands were not met. When contacted, NLC head of Department of Information and Public Affairs, Benson Opa, said the report is not true. Join the general public to disregard the viral report. NLC, before now I was saying they were prevaricating. NLC talking. Go ahead.
Yes, well, that will tell you that we are also experiencing a phase in NLC that lacks activism. And that is why what you now see, external third party now influencing. Those days, when an NLC president calls for a meeting, you don't hear external, you don't even predict. You don't hear news. The news will be NLC is going to meet to discuss on this. It is true that they have given 14 days which expired, but what concerns the third eye in publishing what is yet to be declared by NLC. That will also tell us that our information system, especially these social media people, they need to be tamed. NLC has come now to say they didn't, because normally they have to call all the members for a meeting, and this they have said will hold on Tuesday next week before an action will be taken. NLC, I will also add, that should not fight for the immediate benefit of their members. Federal government, I understand, had already released 2 billion naira as part of this, minus the grains that are being shared 1 cup or something. The 2 billion, no one knows how. Only Borno State has shown us that it is not a federal government matter.
Okay, Professor.
Yes. That is not a federal government matter. From the 2 billion, he added.
And gave it to NLC.
Yes.
So you think that is the right solution? Give to NLC to dispense? State governments are still holding on the money.
Yeah, so there are some states.
They are not doing anything.
No, well, yes.
Yes, some states like...
they are still at policy level.
Yes.
They are still at meeting level.
Yes.
So, but we're talking about the end result of
some states, like Boronu. You know, Boronu bought about 86 long buses. Then bought 100 and something small buses. Then bought the big lorries to carry grains from hinterlands and all that. These are measures. Taraba has also done something like that. But here, we have not had anything. Whether the politicians want to embezzle this money is our problem. So NSC should constitute themselves into a monitoring group on how the small effort that is being made is utilized.
So they should be, because they should follow the template
Yes.
of Borno State.
Yes.
Well, in other states, they should monitor it. That's
Yes.
that should be what we expect from
Yes, NSC.
an active NLC.
Yes.
Well, for me, you see, it is the issue of government now. The issue of sharing palliative. I don't know. Each time I look at palliative, I look at myself as a slave in Nigeria. So, because we are not at
for what it is now, what should be done?
Well, NSC should liaise with the government, because it is just we are asking the issue of meetings. If meeting is held, they should make their position clear that what you are doing today, we want to be part of it to know. Because whatever we are sharing today, like they have been able to tell us that it's not about political parties, even though we see political coloration. Yes. But the affair is not, it's about the Nigerian people, it's about Rivers people, it's about Imo people, it's about maybe Abia State or Bayelsa people. But the truth is that people are watching what is playing out. So if NSC want to get if NSC is ready to get involved, fine. Go and play the role of unbiased umpire who should speak for the people, not even about the workers alone. Because hunger, from my little knowledge, is not about who you are. It's about being a human being. Everybody everybody's hungry. So for me, I pray that NSC should be part of the team. I need to protect the interests of also the workers and also the people. Now, also coming back to the news, which they have refuted. Now, it is obvious that when we are not coordinated, a lot of things will go wrong, and people will use it, will see our weak point, and play over intelligence. So I also pray that NSC, Joe Ajero, should be mindful of his time, being the leader of the labor union in Nigeria, should also make the federal government of Nigeria to know. Because sometimes the agenda of NSC, sometimes I feel worried. They should be straightforward. This is what we want. But it's not that when you go into what we call roundtable discussion, before you know, we don't even hear your grievance. Why? There was a deadlock. There must be a kind of briefing that government will ask them to do this. But that's why too, somebody will just go online and upload something to the public, and we begin to follow it. And today there is strike, there is no strike. And again, NSC should use every option to draw the attention of the federal government of Nigeria to the plight of not only Nigerian workers, but also to the plight of Nigerian people, but whether we like it or not. There's some of us who are not working in government. There's some of us who don't have work to do. And we live in the same economy, which is also causing serious hardship and impoverishing Nigerians the more. As for me, NSC should be bold to speak up for the people. As I look, Mr. President, or Lalong, who is the Minister of Labor, look, this is what we want you to do. If you do this, we will go off. We will not go on anything called strike. And I believe it can be done. So let it be that any action taken by NSC should be made possible, maybe made public by the NSC, maybe president or secretary. So nobody speaks on their behalf. Wait tomorrow will come and refute that, no, it's not from our table. That's my own take.
My worry is that NSC strike has become so rampant.
Absolutely.
so rampant that people no longer regard strike. You just came out of 2-day strike the other day, and you want to start another one. You did not even evaluate the effect. The strike should not be so rampant. There are so many options NLC can. And my worry is that when NLC is talking of going on strike, TUC is backing out of it, that they are not going to be.
There's no synergy.
So there is no, whether I know that TUC was set up by Obasanjo that time against
labor,
incessant strike by NSC. So TUC was created. But I thought just like in ASU, a Congress was also created to cause, the two of them can go to the backyard after we are pursuing the same thing and unite. Not this one saying, I'm not going on strike, NSC should go on strike. It will not work. Two of them should come together, look at various options, and ensure that whenever they now say, we have exhausted all the options and we are now ready for strike, all of them will come together. It will have a telling effect on those, but not on the people.
We used to have a research-oriented NLC.
Yes.
Where NLC used to be, very vibrant in looking at the problem of the state, looking at governance, looking at the economy, and looking at the way it affects workers.
Yes.
And then make pronouncements
that
will assist government in running a viable economy. We will no longer have that.
Where is Aremu?
Now, look at in Argentina.
Yes.
Now, as we're discussing now, there's a serious public unrest.
Yeah.
It's about the livelihood of the people. They want the government to put things in place that will make life meaningful. Like I've sat down, the cycle of God in Nigeria has been so perfect because the land is still yielding us fruits. The water, I did a personal research in my area in Anthony. I found that even this hard time, even this rainy season, you can go to the river and still make a good catch that you sell and make your money. But when you come to the issue of a man-made economy, that's where we're having issues. And we need to tell our leaders to be prompt to our plight, so that we don't also look at ourselves as people who are like slaves in our God-given land. Like I was saying in America, in Argentina now, people are on the street telling, no, what you are doing to us is you are a leader. If you cannot feed the economy, come down. Like was it 3-5 months ago, Liz Truss, UK Prime Minister, she stayed in office for 3 months, and what the purpose of her resignation from office as Prime Minister was that she couldn't fix the economy. But here, the economy is going downward. Is that we must die here. We must die here. So for me, I pray that Labour and the people should also come together and talk to the government, and government people too should look at us. Because without the delayed, there will be no leadership. And I pray that in no distant time, everything should be solved that will give hope to the Nigerian state.
I am actually canvassing for a change of modus operandi of labor. When has labor had a kind of town hall meeting with people who are not part of labor, as it used to happen that time? As a student union, as a student union leader that time, I have had opportunity of being invited by the then NLC to a town hall meeting. I have also been given a topic to research and submit to labor with financial backing, which it is not a question of making reference to already accept. Send people out. They gave money, and I involved a lot of people to go make survey outside, talk to people, sample opinion, and they turn in these papers, which I, in turn, turned to NLC. And they used it. These labor leadership is after government is not doing this, government is not doing that. And meanwhile, when they enter into the meeting, the first thing government will do,
that's what.
This is your own.
They get a prayer point.
Yes.
Prayer point.
Yes.
Not talking.
Not talking. They say, this is your own, this is your own, and this is just labor.
Yes.
And if it is not sufficient, we'll go on strike. But meanwhile, if it is sufficient, we are still talking. That's an old system that should be jettisoned.
Yeah. Well, I think that we'll break a little bit and go on another segment, which is totally, which has to do with entertainment. So let's go for this shot. Thank you very much. That's much you can take on today's program, Atlantic Television Network. Sorry we didn't take entertainment segment because the guest came late, and so that's where we're trailing off. Don't forget, next week Saturday we'll come your way very, very strongly on the program, Atlantic Saturday, your flagship program on weekend. My name is Bon Woke. I've had a lot of guests here. I've had Pius Zoko. I've had Dr. Ikiri and the powerful...
Mention your name.
Frank Enawa.
I just wanted you to talk. Well, thank you very much for being there for us. My name is Bon Woke. Stay tuned for other programs on the station.